Hello, artist. Hey, it's Stephanie Aune coming back to you once again with another collage. Now, this looks much different than the first one. I just wanted to show you guys here that this piece started off as something completely different. You can see there's kind of a leaf pattern up there. This was actually some echo prints that I had done a year or two ago, and I haven't used any of them, and so I thought I would use them. And I had seen a butterfly in this one with a flower, and I thought, oh, that's a really cool idea. Well, you know what? It just didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. And so I pulled it all off. Now, artwork, you may have said, hey, that looked great, but truly, it didn't make me happy. And if something doesn't make you happy, it's up to you to decide whether you want to change it or mix it up or paint it with black gesso and have kind of a rough and ragged form underneath of it. Only you can decide how you want your artwork to look. And I did think about throwing away the page, honestly, but I went ahead and I kept going. Okay, so I painted it with black gesso. I put some music sheet down just to give a little variety. And then I went into my stash once again, and I found a napkin that I had received from an ATC exchange, which I have really loved using all of the gifts that I've been given over the last couple years in ATCs. So, the napkin was a really cool kind of very earthy color and had some roses on it. So here I'm putting down a strip of green paper because it just fit. And I'm offsetting the red in that background with another piece of red embossed paper. I'm going to show you guys how to do that coming up. It's super simple, just with a cuttle bug, and it's very easy to do, and I can show you guys that. It's a hard, not hard. So, okay, so this napkin now is kind of dictating the color scheme, which is good. Sometimes you've got to be inspired by something, and I just have pieces and parts laying all over my desk, as you can see, and if a color looks good with it, then it's likely going to go on there. So I'm just adding another piece of napkin there in front because I don't know what had happened. So I've got that part started. Oh, well, that was crooked. So I took it off and luckily didn't take the napkin with me and put it back down because there's no sense in having sloppy craftsmanship. If you're going to make something, I've got intersecting 90-degree angles there. They need to look like they're intersecting 90-degree angles. They're not absolutely 100% perfect, but they are pretty close. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking at some of my different images that I have sitting around, and then I found this little scrap of paper on my desk. I'm like, oh, that's great colors for in here. I'm just going to put it on. And that's exactly what I did. Still hadn't chosen a focal at this point. So then you go through and you trim it up and look at how gorgeous it is at that point. Then I had some little pieces of squares from, where I had cut off the red. And I'm just kind of sprinkling the red over the composition. It's all about tying it in, and it's about keeping your eye flowing through the piece of work. Even though this is small, we still want to think about our composition. And that right there is just really cool. And so I kind of kept looking and looking and looking. It's like, oh my gosh. And then this butterfly is actually out of a magazine. And I very, very rarely use magazine images. But I went ahead and trimmed it down. And look Look at that. Look at how the blue in the wing kind of picks up the blue at the bottom of that little piece of paper. Remember, guys, all these pieces of paper are just things that are in my stash. That multi-piece of paper, I did that back, oh gosh, in the circus book. I think it was the 6/10 flip and fold page. You might check that out, the series playlist for the Circus Altered book. That's some cool projects in there. So I take a nice sharp Stabilo and I start to go around all of the edges. Now, there's really no need to rush through Stabiloing. It's pretty important, actually, because what I'm using it for here is to differentiate the different layers and to create depth. It's not just to create a smoky edge, it's to create some depth. And as you guys know, I like a nice fine point or a nice clean edge, which is what I can get with the Arteza real brush pens. They are very nice to use with your Stabilo. If you look at it, you can see how crisp all of the edges are. I can get them as smoky as I want. I've got a ton of control with it, which is what you need with Stabilo. At least I do. So then I had the deco foil sitting on my desk from a project that I'd done earlier. And now the problem here, these are glue dots, and unfortunately my collage papers were not dry, so the glue was not sticking. Yes. So then I had to go back through and put on more tape dots. It's actually quite ridiculous, but I did get 3 up top and 2 on the bottom, so it creates a nice balance. I'm doing a final trim here, just to make sure my craftsmanship is as good as possible. And then, of course, I take my permanent ink around the edge of it, the permanent ink so that it doesn't come off over time, and just make a beautiful finishing edge. We're all done here, guys, so I hope you have a great day, and I hope you're staying safe. Bye-bye. Please be sure to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much.